The distress beacon had been pulsing for 3 standard weeks when the Salvage Guild finally assigned someone to investigate. That someone was Jack Martinez, a third-generation ship mechanic who'd learned to splice quantum drives before he could ride a bicycle. The guild promised him triple pay for the remote location, which should have been his first warning sign. Jack's shuttle docked with the derelict vessel in the Kepler Expanse, a region of space so far from civilized systems that even pirates considered it a waste of fuel. The ship itself was massive, easily 3 times larger than any human vessel he'd encountered. Its hull bore markings he didn't recognize, flowing script that seemed to shimmer even in the vacuum of space. "Control, I'm reading some unusual architecture here," Jack transmitted back to the guild station. "This doesn't match any specs in my database." Static crackled before the dispatcher's voice came through. "Just fix whatever's broken, Martinez. We're not paying you to be as an archaeologist." Jack shrugged inside his suit and cycled through the airlock. The moment he stepped inside, he knew something was profoundly different. The atmosphere was breathable, his suit sensors confirmed it, but it smelled of ozone and something floral he couldn't identify. The corridors were too tall, too wide, designed for beings much larger than humans. Emergency lighting cast everything in an eerie purple glow. Jack followed the sound of failing systems deeper into the ship, his toolkit mag-locked to his hip. The deeper he went, the more obvious it became that this wasn't just any ship. The walls were decorated with precious metals, and what he initially thought were light fixtures appeared to be bioluminescent organisms grown into the architecture itself. He found the engine room after 20 minutes of navigation. It was magnificent and terrifying in equal measure. The quantum core was unlike anything in human engineering, crystalline structure, suspended in a field of dancing energy that pulsed like a heartbeat. But that heartbeat was irregular. Stuttering Jack was so focused on his diagnostic scanner that he didn't notice. He wasn't alone until a voice spoke behind him. "You are not one of my crew." He spun around, nearly dropping his tools. The being before him stood nearly 8 feet tall, with iridescent skin that shifted between deep purples and blues. She wore what could only be described as armor that seemed to be grown rather than forged, and her eyes, 4 of them, arranged in a diamond pattern on her face, fixed on him with an intensity that made his breath catch. I'm a mechanic," Jack stammered. "Your ship's distress beacon. I am aware of my vessel's condition," she interrupted, her voice carrying harmonics that no human throat could produce. "I am Queen Thessalon of the Void Court. This is my diplomatic cruiser, and you are trespassing." Jack's mind raced. Queen diplomatic cruiser. He'd just walked onto an alien royal vessel without clearance. The guild was going to kill him, if he survived whatever this queen decided to do with him first. "I apologize, Your Majesty," he said, remembering every protocol vid he'd ever watched about first contact. The beacon indicated critical systems failure. "I came to help." Thessalon moved closer, circling him with predatory grace. "Help? A human mechanic believes he can repair Void Court technology." There was something in her tone, not quite mockery, but definitely skepticism. "I can try," Jack said, with more confidence than he felt. "That quantum core is destabilizing. If someone doesn't recalibrate it soon, it'll cascade failure. This whole ship will be dead in space permanently, or worse, it'll tear itself apart." One of Thessalon's hands, she had 6 fingers. He noticed, gestured toward the core. "My entire crew died when we passed through an unexpected gravitational anomaly. I survived only because of my Royal Chamber's emergency stasis field. I have been attempting repairs for 2 cycles with no success. My knowledge is of statecraft, not engineering." Jack looked at the Queen, then at the dying ship around them, then back at his scanner. Every instinct screamed that he was in over his head, but he'd never walked away from a ship that needed fixing. "Okay," he said, rolling up his sleeves. "Let me see what I can do." The next 6 hours were the most challenging of Jack's career. Void Court technology operated on principles that seemed to bend human physics, where human ships used brute force calculations. This vessel used something closer to negotiation with quantum states. Jack found himself less fixing and more convincing the systems to cooperate. Thessalon watched his every move, occasionally providing information about the ship's systems when he asked. Despite the bizarre circumstances, they fell into an efficient rhythm. She was surprisingly knowledgeable once she understood what he was trying to accomplish, and Jack found himself explaining human engineering approaches while she shared insights about Void Court principles. "Your people build machines as slaves," Thessalon observed as Jack rerouted power conduits. "We grow our ships as partners. The difference is philosophically profound. Partners that need mechanics when things go wrong," Jack grunted, arm deep in what he'd started calling the nerve cluster. "Partners that respond to understanding rather than force," she corrected. She placed one hand on the crystalline core and spoke in her own language, a series of tones that made Jack's teeth vibrate. The core's stuttering pulse smoothed slightly. "Okay, that's actually helpful," Jack admitted. "Can you do that again while I adjust the resonance frequency?" They worked together, human ingenuity meeting alien intuition. When the quantum core finally stabilized, humming with renewed energy, Jack felt a surge of satisfaction, unlike anything he'd experienced before. Thieselin's 4 eyes all focused on him simultaneously. "You have saved my life, Jack Martinez. By the laws of the Void Court, this creates a debt of honor." "Just doing my job, Your Majesty." "No," she said firmly. "You went far beyond your assignment. You respected my vessel as a living partner, not merely a machine. Few beings show such wisdom." She paused, her skin shifting to a warmer golden hue. "How would you feel about becoming the first human consultant to the Void Court? We have 43 ships in our fleet. All could benefit from a mechanic who understands both engineering and respect." Jack stared at her, then at the now healthy ship around them, then back at the Queen. The guild would probably fire him for abandoning his other contracts. He smiled. "When do I start?"